Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive in 5 podcast. I think we're on episode 10, which means I have made it to double digits. I'm very proud of myself. If you've listened so far, well done. If you're listening in the future, there's probably loads more episodes to go. So go and check them out. This episode I am recording on a Thursday. This episode is going out on a Friday. And that means that I'm coming off the back of a week of coaching the incredible TFP team. This episode is being recorded on the 15th, 16th of January. And that means that I have been running what I call reset calls with the team. So we have been jumping on calls to chat through plans for the year, what we're going to be working on together, what different members of the team have got coming up, kind of getting everyone back in the swing of things after Christmas, after the festive period, after maybe things feeling a little bit out of routine, and getting them reset and ready to go for 2025. So I thought what I would do today, something a little bit different. I would share a little bit of what we've chatted through, give you some insight, give you some kind of, behind the scenes of what's been going on in the TFP. Also, probably a lot of stuff you will relate to, stuff you'll be able to take stuff from. So I thought I would just quickly chat through some of the themes that have been coming up this week in the TFP. For a lot of clients over this last week, we're really focusing on getting back into the swing of things. And to be honest, for a lot of us, that's going to be for the next few weeks. TFPers tend to be creatures of habit. They tend to be people who like routine, like structure. I think the nature of being a professional woman is that you tend to thrive off of having certain things in place. You tend to like, the order of a working day, of knowing when you're going to be where, like knowing that you've got your diary sorted, etc. Even those of us who, this is probably me, are a little bit more disorganized, a little bit more. I wouldn't say that I'm the most organized person. I think a lot of the team maybe fall into that boat, but we like the structure. We like knowing that we're doing this at this time. We like that feeling of being in a good routine. It's probably one of the biggest things that people talk to me about when we first hop on a call together. And we've talked a lot this week within the team about the importance of routine and the struggle of getting back into routine when things are hard. It's really difficult when you are out of routine to get yourself back into that routine. You lose momentum, you lose that feeling of like, oh, right, I know what I'm doing. And you kind of, everything feels easy. So, one thing that we talked about quite a lot this week is tolerance for discomfort. So, this idea that when we are out of routine, it feels harder. Everything feels a little bit harder. When we are in routine, everything feels easier. It's very easy when things are feeling harder for us just to give up. And that's what tends to happen. It gets a bit harder. We have to try a bit harder. We have to maybe be a little bit more deliberate, maybe put certain things in place to make it to get back into routine. And that can be difficult. So one thing that we've talked about quite a lot this week is this idea of having a bit more of a tolerance for discomfort now, so that in the future where you can build that momentum up and then you won't need to push quite as hard. We've also been talking about the challenges of this current weather and the cold and how that impacts how we feel in terms of our routine and our bodies. Let's be honest, it is so much easier to go for a walk or to get up early when it's sunny and warm outside. It is miserable getting up when it is dark. It is miserable going out for a walk when it's raining. So we've talked quite a lot about that and how that might impact routine and motivation, because to be honest, it's something that a lot of us are struggling with. I'll be very transparent and say it's something that I found a little bit tough this last kind of week or so, just getting back into my normal routine. I'm motivated, I'm ready to go. I'm just having to try a little bit harder. We've also talked quite a lot this week about hormones and the impact of our menstrual cycles on how we feel, on our ability to diet, on our ability to do our steps, etc. It's something that I think there's a combination of factors that's meant this has come up quite a lot this week. I think for a couple of the team, their periods are on their way. A couple of the team have also recently come off hormonal contraception, so are a bit more aware of their body. So we've been chatting through strategies that can help with PMT in particular, and that feeling of being cravey, being a little bit bingy, maybe feeling like you're just a bottomless pit of hunger. Looking at different ways we can manage that and looking at understanding what's going on in our bodies as well. We've also been talking quite a lot about illness because there are a lot of bugs going around. I was unwell before Christmas. A lot of people kind of went down with stuff over Christmas. What I find tends to happen for most of us who are kind of working up till Christmas is that we're kind of okay until we stop, and we keep going and we keep going, we keep going, and then we break for Christmas and come down with something. That was the story for a lot of the team. And for a lot of the team, they maybe even kept going through Christmas because adrenaline kept them going. But then it got to like the 29th, 30th, 31st, 1st of January, and the bug hit. So we've been talking through not just how to handle what to do when you're ill, because that's obviously important, but also how to handle coming back from illness. The general rule of thumb that I use with illness is that we need to give our body probably twice the amount of time that we were symptomatic to be fully back to health. And that doesn't mean that we can't do stuff in that period of time, but it's about recognizing that we might still be a little bit jaded, a little bit under the weather, a little bit more tired, a little bit less well rested, a little bit more susceptible to going down with stuff in that period of time. So we kind of need to give ourselves a little bit of grace. So we've been talking about that for the team members that are still under the weather with various things. I do know from chatting to my best mate who's a doctor that flu numbers this year are mental. So I don't think anybody in the team has had like the flu, but we've had a lot of nasty bugs. And then we've also been chatting through goals for the year. So these reset calls were about looking at the things that we're kind of struggling with right now and then resetting, rebaselining, and then pushing forward for the year. We've got lots happening this year for the TFPers. So we've got weddings coming up, we've got holidays, we've got big kind of moments in careers, whether that is like professional exams, looking to go for promotions, things like that. We've also got a lot of like what I'd call life stuff. So houses being renovated, bathrooms being done, roofs being done, new puppies and pets being welcomed into the family, all sorts of things like that. So lots of things going on. And that means that we do have to plan ahead and look at how to manage that. So one of the things that we've been doing is looking at big events we've got coming up, whether those are things that we want to aim for when it comes to a goal, whether that is like losing weight for getting into the wedding dress, looking a certain way or feeling a certain way on holiday. That might even be, we've got a couple of the team who are looking at doing like athletic events. We've got some sprint triathlons. We've got a couple of people looking to do 10Ks and half marathons. So looking at kind of planning those events in and thinking about when those are, but also thinking about how we might plan around challenging times we've got coming up. You know, if you have got a period of time where you're wanting to push for promotion, say, or take your professional exams, that might not be the best time to be wanting to ramp things up from a fat loss perspective. It actually might be a good time to maybe pull back a little bit, take a break in terms of the diet, but still wanting to keep the lights on. So that's something that we've been talking about in terms of how we manage that calendar across the year. A lot of the team at the moment are working on fat loss. That is a big goal for a lot of the team. So we've been looking at those events we might want to aim for and looking at how we're going to set that diet up this year, looking at the things that they want to keep doing and the things that they maybe want to tweak, things they might want to adjust when it comes to the how we set up somebody's fat loss phase, how we set up someone's deficit. It's very person dependent. We have lots of different systems and strategies that we'll use depending on what's right for the individual. So we've got a couple of the team who are transitioning onto calorie tracking. We've got some of the team that are transitioning away from calorie tracking into our more flexible approach to our more kind of intuitive approach to fat loss. So that's really exciting and sort of supporting them with those. We've also been looking at knowing when to stop a diet. This is a conversation that's come up with a few of the team who have lost a lot of weight thus far and are kind of thinking like, how do I know when I'm done? At the TFP, we don't believe in having a goal weight. I don't think that's a very helpful language to have, primarily because I see it a lot where people will say, I'll be happy when I'm 65 kilos, and they get there and they're not, because it's not really about the number on the scales. Nobody else knows what that number says apart from you and me in that situation. So it's not particularly helpful. But what is helpful is looking at maybe items of clothing and how they fit, looking at how you feel in yourself, actually reflecting on whether losing any more weight would improve your body image, or actually there's some work we need to do through our body image blueprint to help you with your body image in order to get you comfortable with your body as it is. I don't believe that you should just love your body as it is and you can't want to change it. You're allowed to want to lose weight, and it's part of what we do at the TFP. But we've been talking about how to manage that and how to think about that. And for different members of the team, we've got slightly different benchmarks, whether that is how clothes fit, whether that is actually a number on the scale, more as a point of assessment to say, right, you felt like this when you were this weight before, let's have a think about how that might look now. And then another goal that's really come up a lot for the team is confidence, particularly in the gym. For a lot of the team, for a lot of the TFP, they are people who have their shit together in many areas of their life, but feel like they don't really have that when it comes to the gym. The gym feels like the one area of their life where they don't feel confident or don't feel that comfortable. And so a lot of the work that we've been doing with a lot of the TFP is actually getting them into the gym environment and challenging themselves and getting them feeling more confident in that space. So something we were chatting about was different movements people want to improve. We've got one of the team who really wants to learn how to do a pull-up, which is epic. We've got one of the team who is looking to really push her strength on certain movements because that's something that that she's always struggled with. So we're looking at Romanian deadlifts in particular. We've got one of the team who is looking to get into hip thrust. It's the one movement in the gym that she just really doesn't feel confident doing. So we're going to be easing her in gently. I'm not just going to give her a hip thrust to go and do. We're going to gradually get her comfortable in that environment and get her comfortable doing that. And yeah, that's really exciting. So we've been looking at tweaking programs, changing things up. We've also got a couple of the team looking to get into running, not to lose weight, because being honest, running is not a great way to lose weight. If you want to find out more about that, pop me a message and I will look to maybe do an episode on that. But actually to have a different way of managing stress, a different outlet, maybe a more efficient way of doing steps as well, because it's quicker if you're running. And a different way to think about exercise, what looking to add something new into their program. So we've been talking a little bit about that, about the best approach. Obviously, a lot of people do things like couch to 5K. Couch to 5K is fine. I don't think it's the most interesting way to get into running. There are much better ways and much more interesting things you can do that make running a lot more exciting than just listening to that quite inane soundtrack. But anyway, so we've been talking about running, about getting into running, building running up for people. It's really exciting when I take somebody who's never really run before and then they go and do like a 10K, a half marathon. I love it. I find it fascinating to kind of see people progress into it. And I really enjoy seeing their faces when they finish. So that's been really exciting. So that's just a bit of insight for you. That is a little bit of insight into the things that have come up in conversation this week. As you can see within the TFP, we cover a lot. We cover pretty much everything. I always say that my interest as a coach is in you as an individual, as a person, everything that makes you a happy, healthy, functioning human. So yes, we look at nutrition and we look at dieting and we look at the gym, but we also cover a whole bunch of stuff, and there's a whole bunch of things in there that I haven't even touched on. Things around sleep, things around energy levels, things around daily routines and habits, and things that are working and things that are not, things about how you interact with other people. There's all sorts of bits that come up, so that's just a little insight into some of the more general topics we've been discussing this week. I hope you found that helpful. As a reminder, do not forget to go and check out the Afterwork Stress Eating Solution. The link is in my bio. I've been talking about it all week. It's brilliant. I've had some fab feedback on it, and I'm really enjoying seeing people go and get on with it. Some of the team have been using bits in it this week too, because they've had access to those tools since they joined the TFP. So yeah, go check it out. Obviously, if you have any questions or anything else you want to chat through with me, do just let me know. Pop me a message on Instagram at amytyler.tfp. But I will speak to you next week.